What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for MLB Thursday, July 21st. These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for today's MLB slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, we have a 3-game slate today, so let's take a look at the pitcher position. So the stud on the slate that I like is Pablo Lopez. Now you could certainly go with Luis Garcia, but I do like Pablo Lopez here pitching against the Texas Rangers. Pablo Lopez is giving up a .664 OPS versus lefties, a .666 OPS versus righties, and a .619 OPS versus switch hitters. He's facing 5 lefties, 2 righties, 2 switch hitters. Now the Rangers are 2 for 10 versus Pablo Lopez. That's a 200 batting average, but that sample size is too low. So I'll say the splits are good because he's a balanced pitcher facing a balanced lineup, and he's 10,000 FanDuel salary. He's averaging 32 fantasy points per game on the season, and he has an ERA of 2.86. Record is 6-4, pitching an average of 92 pitches per game. So I like Pablo Lopez here versus the Texas Rangers. Now, please excuse me, guys, if I'm a little rusty here going through these players. Took a couple days off. Well, MLB was on the All-Star break, but now we're back to it, doing videos every day. So just on the Pablo Lopez, I'm not sure if he's on the DK slate. You'll have to check that, but if he's not, I think Luis Garcia is a fine stud. So let's get into a lower salary pitcher that I like. If you want to save a little bit of salary here, take a look at Jon Gray. I actually think he may be my favorite pitcher on the slate. Jon Gray pitching against a low salary batting team, the Miami Marlins. Jon Gray giving up a .674 OPS versus righties, facing 7 righties, and the Marlins have hit 6 of his last 26 pitches. That's a .231 batting average. Not a huge sample size, but a good start. Jon Gray is 9,000 FanDuel salary, 400 less on DraftKings, averaging 32 fantasy points per game on the season. And he's been on fire, scoring 58, 37, and 29 fantasy points in the last 3 games. He has an ERA of 3.71. Record is 6-4, pitching an average of 90 pitches per game. So I like Jon Gray here versus the Miami Marlins. Okay, let's take a look at the catcher first base position. So there is quite a bit of value on this slate. So I like Matt Carpenter, who's a stud pick here. He's got a 28% batting advantage over Luis Garcia. Matt Carpenter batting a .943 OPS versus righty pitchers. Luis Garcia pitching his worst ball versus lefty batters, 27% worse than his other pitches, giving up a .799 OPS versus lefties. Now, there's no at-bats versus Garcia yet. Matt Carpenter is 4,000 FanDuel salary, same price on DraftKings, averaging 15 fantasy points per game on the season. He's been on fire, scoring 23, 61, and 12 fantasy points in the last 3 games. He scored fantasy points in 4 out of his last 5 games, and he has a batting average of .354. So I like Matt Carpenter here versus Luis Garcia. Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching. If you want to enter the drawing for $25 PayPal, all you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won. And then we'll send you $25 PayPal. So it's that easy, and we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video. So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you. Okay, let's take a look at the second base position. So here's a value play. I like Javier Baez. He's batting against Frankie Montas. Javier Baez batting a .661 OPS versus righties. Frankie Montas giving up a .659 OPS versus righties. So the splits here are not great. Javier Baez does bat much better versus lefty pitchers. But remember, Frankie Montas won't be pitching the whole game here, so he could be matched up versus a lefty towards the end of the game. And Javier Baez is 1 for 3 here versus Montas. He's only $2,600 FanDuel salary, $1,900 more on DraftKings. So I love that FanDuel price, averaging 8 fantasy points per game on the season. He scored fantasy points in 4 out of his last 5 games. Now he only has a batting average of .213, but I think that his price on FanDuel is low enough to make him a good play. So I like Javier Baez here versus Frankie Montas. Okay, let's take a look at the third base position. Here's a value play. I like Joey Wendell. If you're not going to be playing John Gray, you got Joey Wendell with a 15% batting advantage versus John Gray. Joey Wendell batting 10% better versus righty pitchers, batting a .758 OPS versus righties. John Gray pitching his worst ball versus lefty batters, giving up a .715 OPS versus lefties. I like this pick because Joey Wendell, only $2,200 FanDuel salary, $900 more on DraftKings, averaging 7 fantasy points per game on the season. He scored fantasy points in all 5 of his last games. He has a batting average of .277. So I like Joey Wendell here versus John Gray. Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups. Okay, let's take a look at the shortstop position. I like Corey Seager, and he's batting against Pablo Lopez. Corey Seager batting a .774 OPS versus righties. Pablo Lopez giving up a .664 OPS versus lefties. No at-bats versus Lopez yet. Corey Seager averaging 11 fantasy points per game on the season. He scored 10, 12, and 19 fantasy points in his last 3 games. He's $3,800 FanDuel salary, $2,100 more on DraftKings, but he has been on fire, scoring fantasy points in all 5 of his last games. He has a batting average of .251, so I like Corey Seager here versus Pablo Lopez. Okay, moving on to the outfield position. I've got a stud pick and a value play. So the stud pick here is Aaron Judge. Now, he does not have the best splits here versus Luis Garcia. Aaron Judge is batting better versus righty pitchers, batting a .942 OPS versus righties. Now, Luis Garcia throws a pretty good ball versus righty batters, only giving up a .582 OPS versus righties. And on top of that, Aaron Judge is 0 for 5 here versus Garcia. So that's just a word of caution here. But it's hard to go against Aaron Judge on such a small slate because he could hit a home run and just break this slate open. He's $4,500 FanDuel salary, same price on DraftKings, averaging 15 fantasy points per game on the season. He scored fantasy points in 4 out of his last 5 games. He has a batting average of .284. So I don't know if I would go all in here on Aaron Judge, but I certainly wouldn't leave him out of all of my lineups. So I like Aaron Judge here versus Luis Garcia. Okay, now for a value play. This is one of my favorite value plays on the slate. I like Seth Brown with an 85% batting advantage over Garrett Hill. Seth Brown batting 31% better versus righty pitchers, batting a .720 OPS versus righties. Garrett Hill pitching his worst ball by far to lefty batters, 54% worse than his other pitches, giving up a .200 OPS versus lefties. Now, there's no at-bats versus Hill yet. I like this pick because Seth Brown only $2,400 FanDuel salary, $300 more on DraftKings, averaging 8 fantasy points per game on the season. And he scored fantasy points in 4 out of his last 5 games. Only has a batting average of .216, but his salary is low and he's got great splits here. So I like Seth Brown here versus Garrett Hill. If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smickety smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NBA slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.